We had a vote in the House of Commons. I voted to go to war, and I voted to get rid of Saddam Hussein.
Is that for us to decide? Is that for us to get involved in? That's not our country. Sure, we have a vested interest in, for example, the oil that's produced there, and I can't help but think that might have been a tiny little factor in what went on.
Except for, I don't think we should legalise drugs.
Well, why not?
Because you make them even more available. If you legalise it, it's going to be even more available, even more people getting onto drugs. Is that what you want?
David, anyone who wants drugs can get drugs. I'm telling you as a fact. It's everywhere now. It's permeating every level of society. And there are organised criminals with weapons who will use force to protect their industry, right? That's not going to go away just by providing more care for those addicted. How do we stop that?
I'm not sure I do agree with. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, you should do. But right. It's not working, quite simply, is it?
So let's try something different. Education and treatment is a different.
That's right. Let's legalise it.
No.
It took me about 3 minutes last night to continually find a list of the same names. I have those names there. Those are the names on a piece of paper. You know the names on that piece of paper. Will you be speaking to those people?
No, I think, Philip, this is really important, right? Because there is a danger, if we're not careful, that this can turn into a sort of witch hunt, particularly against people who are... I do feel now that a very big part of my life is trying to give pleasure to Mrs. Bode.
Rural Britannia.
Yeah.
Written by whom? I mean, it's the iconic association with the British Empire. Britain rules the world. Who wrote that? Do you know?
God, you're testing me there. Elgar, I'll go for.
Okay. Edward Elgar?
I reckon.
The literal translation was what? You have Magna...
Again, you're testing me.
Boy, it'd be good if you knew this.
Yeah, well, it would be.
But when you say you often have free votes in this Parliament, the Parliament from which you're responsible, if you accept, as you did at the beginning of the interview, that gay equality is basically a fundamental...
No, sorry, actually, you're right, you're right. No, I mean, I'm not the answer about... Sorry. You're right. The two votes are very different. Sorry.
You want us to vote for you. If we vote for you, we want you to vote for us.
I do. Do you know, can we stop for a second? I really want to answer these questions. It's really complicated. Either can we do a television interview or can we do a press interview? I'd always like to start completely from scratch.
Is the Prime Minister still intending to introduce the Snoopers Charter, euphemistically known as the Communications and Data Bill? Does he realise that he'll be spying his government on more people in Britain than even all the press barons put together? Where did he get this advice and idea from? Was it down at Wapping? Was it his friends down there? Rupert, Tony, Rebecca? Doesn't he agree that the British people deserve an answer as to why he appointed one of Murdoch's top lieutenants, Andy Coulson, to the heart of the British government? Is the Prime Minister aware that the most revealing statistic in recent days has been the fact that in recession-hit Britain, the billionaires have gone up by 20, an increase of 37% in the first year of this Tory rule? Whilst in the real world, inflation's going through the roof, thousands of blind people are having to march through the streets of London to hang on to their disability living allowance. What a savage indictment of this lousy, rotten Tory, propped up by these pathetic liberals. Is the Prime Minister aware that this cabinet reshuffle of his B team hasn't raised a ripple with the general public, whereas on the other hand, those loud boos that greeted the Chancellor will haunt the posh boys forever? Why doesn't he be a man, do the decent thing, call a general election? Do it now!
One
one day we have the Prime Minister saying yes to repatriation, and 24 hours later the Deputy Prime Minister says no. Mr. Speaker, on this crucial question, who speaks for the government?
What the Deputy Prime Minister said yesterday, and let me quote, "There's a perfectly good case to rebalance the responsibilities between the European Union and its member states." Right. What a contrast with what the leader of the Labour Party said. He was asked this question. John Sopel, let me ask this single question, yes or no answer. Has Brussels got too much power? Miliband, I don't think it's got too much power. So, what we have, Mr. Speaker, is very plain. There is a group of people on this side of the House who want some rebalancing, a group of people who want a lot of rebalancing, and a complete mug who wants no rebalancing at all.
Mr. Speaker, why doesn't he come clean about the split between himself and the Deputy Prime Minister? This is what the Deputy Prime Minister was asked. Is David Cameron wrong to promise at some point the idea of another treaty that might bring powers back? And he said this government, of which I'm a Deputy Prime Minister, is not going to launch some sort of dawn raid, some smash and grab raid on Brussels. It won't work. It will be condemned to failure. Is it his position to get out of the social chapter, yes or no?
It is this coalition that's worked together to get us out of the bailout fund, to get us out of the Greek bailout, to deliver this year a freeze in the European budget. That's what this coalition has achieved. The split that we have is between the right honourable gentleman and reality. That is the split that we have, and we had the greatest proof of that. I talked to the House about this on Monday, but it's so good I've got to do it again. When he was asked if he wanted to join the Euro, he said, "It depends how long I'm Prime Minister for." That's the split. The Labour Party and reality.
The only thing I can think of that could go wrong is if a fucking Tory says something outrageous.
I can listen to service.
But I mean, he's a stupid bastard. He's the most stupid of them all. He's a stupid bastard. He's the most stupid of them all.
People, I think, who thought we've also...
Mr. Speaker, recently a single mother with small children came to see me in Sheffield. She had with her a
I wish the Shadow Chancellor would occasionally shut up and listen to the answer. I don't know whether... Am I? I don't know whether... Am I? I will try and come to... I don't know whether...
Order! Other members can now follow the Prime Minister's advice to the Shadow Chancellor. We need a bit of order. The Prime Minister.
I may be alone in finding him the most annoying person in modern politics, but anyway, I'm sure... No. I think... I've got a feeling the Leader of the Opposition will one day agree with me, but there we are.
Jim Murphy from Labour, it's kind of ironic that what the SNP is proposing here is pretty much what a lot of Labour people would quite like to see, a nuclear-free Scotland, but yet retaining the safety of the NATO umbrella.
The more we discuss this, the more we listen to Mr Miller in Washington, it's clear the SNP haven't done their homework. There doesn't seem to be much logic, indeed, in trying to get out of our nearest military alliance, which is the United Kingdom, and then not meet the rules of the largest military alliance, which is NATO. And in fact, actually, been outside of NATO for a prolonged period. The SNP's idea that there'll be some quick fix and an independent Scotland could just rejoin NATO without any difficulties is fanciful. But on the point about the rules, the facts are clear. You've got to sign up to the strategic concept, which is about a nuclear umbrella. Of course, you don't have to have nuclear weapons on your soil, but you have to accept in principle and in practice that collective security of the nuclear umbrella, which the SNP play around with words on that, but they don't actually sign up to it. And the second is on money. You've got to pay the bills. And the SNP's budget, even the very creative budget that they've come up with, which no one actually accepts, doesn't meet NATO standards of threshold. So they're going to knock, if they were independent, they'd be knocking in a closed door, saying, let us join this NATO club, but we won't sign up to the rules and arrangements inside NATO. Doesn't make sense.
Angus Robertson, you're not signing up to the rules, according to Mr Murphy.
Well, I'm delighted because I'm sure everybody heard, and we can read the transcript there, that Jim Murphy has accepted that NATO member states do not have to host nuclear weapons.
When are you bringing back slavery?
Slavery?
Aye. Well, is the black paper?
Britain abolished slavery.
All right, well, we're not bringing it back, no? Isn't that the plan with our no vote? Take back the empire. That's what it's all about, the imperial empire, isn't it? Bring back the empire, Jim. Come on, Jim, bring it back, mate.
You're a stand-up.
No, I'm not. You're a stand-up.
No.
You're a stand-up. You're the one with the soapbox. You're shouting about the place, man.
I am Rookwitz.
Oh, sorry, man. All right, well, in that case, bring back the empire, man. On your cell, mate. On your cell. What about yourselves? You bring back the empire. Have you got a timetable for it? Right, oh, what empire? Come on, you're not here to support the British Empire. You're not.
It's not British Empire.
What?
That went from years ago.
Well, what are you here supporting then? I'm voting no for the empire. I think we should bring back slavery. We should bring back the imperial empire. Take over the world, man. Take the world over again. We used to be great. Isn't that why you guys have all got your jobs? You've got your jobs, sir, because of the empire. That's why you're here today, because of my taxpayers. My tax, that tax money's brought you here.
They didn't know what they're doing.
Ah, you've not got an answer. You know plenty.
I told you the answer.
What's the answer?
I said there's no empire.
So there's no empire. So the Labour Party just admitted there's no empire. The end of the empire has been admitted. The Labour Party have just admitted the empire.
Murphy, let's go to you in Edinburgh. Good to see you again.
Hi, Andrew.
In your view, is the proposed changes, the extra powers, are they too much, too little, or about Goldilocks?
Well, the vow has been delivered, and
you've been talking in the last couple of weeks, and you say for a long time, but I mean prominently in the last couple of weeks, about home rule. You've got these three-party leaders today signing this thing, saying they go along with it all.
Well, I'm delighted with what's been announced. We are keeping our promises and we're keeping our United Kingdom together. I always said that a no vote didn't mean no change. Indeed, we made a vow of further devolution to Scotland, and today we show how we're keeping that vow and will continue to keep that promise. The Scottish Parliament is going to have much more responsibility in terms of spending money, but it will also have to be accountable for how it raises taxes to fund that spending, and I think that's a good thing. I think the report today also makes the case for English votes for English laws unanswerable, and we'll be taking action on that shortly. And I think taken together, this extra devolution for Scotland and dealing with all the issues in our United Kingdom will make our United Kingdom stronger. So it's a good day for the UK.
are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme rolls around the purple river. Where you go, I say go, and we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming river. Will you go? I will build my love a tower, near yon clear crystal fountain, and on it I will pile all the flowers of the mountain. Where will you go? Well, I say go, and we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around, all around. Here will you go? Well, I say go.
My true love, he was gone. I will surely find another, as the wild mountain thyme rolls around the purple river. Will you go? Will I say go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around, all around. Where will you go? Will I say go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around, all around. Here will you go? Well, I say go. To pluck wild mountain thyme. Come on! Will you go? I say go. On yourself, let's go. Yeah, where you go? Well, I say go. And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around, all around. There will you go? Well, I say go. Say where you go. Hey, where you go? you go? All I said go.
That's all, folks.